Hello, welcome back to another unedited talk with author Jory Rivers. My name is author Jory Rivers. I am an author from the Pacific Northwest. I write indie books. I focus on the Enchanted Dragon Academy book series, but I also have an adult book series that I call Animalistic Adventures. It is by no means for any children. It's kind of an adult satire picture book series. But either way, today, as this episode is going to be kind of like what really grinds my gears as an author. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about email and social media as an indie author, and just kind of explore some of those topics with you because sometimes the author life looks great on the outside, but it can be really frustrating on the backside. So, I want to talk about social media. It's fantastic. I love it. It is a way for me to reach out. I have met really cool people on social media. I have met really supportive people. I have met people that are growing with me as I'm becoming a more known indie author. I have people that are supporting me while I support them while they're growing their books or their small business. And so that part of social media I love. I can talk to people from across the world. I can talk to people from across the United States. I can talk to people from a variety of countries, and it is fantastic. I also rely heavily on Fiverr. I think that's how you say the website, but that is how I found my lovely cover artist. I am also paying people to design my characters for me now because I don't want to use AI. I know AI has a lot of great uses, but for me, writing a book and designing my characters is not something I want to use AI for. I want my book to be authentic. I want my characters to be authentic. Do I use AI for some of my social media posts? Absolutely. I mean, right now, I don't have a TV series. I don't have a movie series. The only design for these characters right now is in your brain. So I am using AI a little bit right now for my social media posts. Besides that, I do not use it to write my book. I do not use it to design my cover. And shortly soon, hopefully I won't use it to have my character designs. I'm paying someone right now to help me design the characters so that I have authentic pictures of them, which will be so cool, but it's going to be a process. So for those reasons, social media is fantastic. On that note, social media can suck. Like, my author email blows up. Is most of it probably spam? Absolutely. Right? I hate getting reached out to about join our book club or be a part of our book club. If you want my book in your book club, bring my book to your book club. Number one, you don't need my permission to do that. And number two, I'm not going to pay you to have my book in your book club. Spam. Spam, spam, spam. So much spam as an author. In my Instagram messages box, in my email box. So I'm sorry if some of you are reaching out and it actually takes me a while to get back because I have to shift through the spam, or sometimes it's just the spam is too much, and so some of the other ones will just go to the spam box too. So I'm sorry if you haven't heard from me, but spam is overwhelming. I also just had my first run-in. Is it authentic or not? I don't know, but I had my first interaction with my first literary agent talking about my book series. She gave me some valuable feedback. I thought some of it was great. However, if you're going to reach out to me and talk about my book, like, I don't know the whole process, right? I'm a new author. I still am trying to figure out a lot of things. Is my book perfect? Absolutely not. We've talked about that, but this literary agent wanted me to change my entire book basically to traditionally publish it. And again, is it a spammer? Most likely, but this interaction is something I want to talk about. Do I eventually want to traditionally publish my book? Absolutely. I am not by any means, though, actively trying to traditionally publish my books right now. There is so much that needs to go into my books first before I can do that. If I were to try and go down the route of traditionally publishing it, I want my books to be done. I want them to be not perfect, but I want them to be the most perfect version of themselves. My books, like I've talked about, are still in the middle of being professionally edited. I have a professional editor who is looking through them very carefully, and we're working on that together. Are we modifying a lot? Absolutely. I have added chapters. I have taken out chapters. I've reworded a million things. I have changed punctuation. Will I do those things to make my book better? Absolutely. What this literary agent asked me to do was, she said that the Magical Academy is too saturated in the market right now, which, first of all, I don't believe. I don't believe that magical academies can ever saturate the market. I think they're all done so well, and I think every author has their own individual take on it, that I think write what you're passionate about. That's what being an author is about. It's taking your ideas and your thoughts and your daydreams and putting it into something physical, putting it into that hard book right there where you can see it and experience it, and other people who are like-minded or interested in that topic can pick it up and experience it too. That is what being an author is about. And that, on the side note, is why people get so mad about AI and people using AI to write their books, because that takes away from being an author. It's not the same, right? You're having a computer assist you. A lot of people use AI to help them edit. I don't do that either. I just don't. I trialed it once. I put a paragraph in and was like, hey, can you help me reword this? And honestly, I thought it made it worse. I thought it took my writing, which was very colorful and descriptive, and made it sound really robotic. So I don't see the benefit in it personally. But again, I'm not here to go on an AI kick. A lot of people have strong opinions on that. But me personally, I don't use it. Either way, so I am not going to do that. However, this literary agent wanted me to change the entire plot of my book and not use a magical academy, which, first and foremost, I'm like, number one, I'm not doing that. This is my book, my ideas, fine. I'm not going to try and put my book, which is very unique. It's got a very unique process, got very unique characters. There is a lot of Easter eggs hidden in it. There's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of realism. There's a lot of things that are from my life that I put in these books. So those are the things that if I were to ever try and traditionally publish, I am not going to change. If a literary agent, an authentic literary agent, would like me to change some of those things in my book, I'm just not going to do it. I would rather stay an indie author and not go the traditional published route than change everything that my book is about. That just doesn't seem like what I want as an author, right? So I would rather stay a small indie author than change and kind of sell out for traditional publishing. The other thing this literary agent wanted me to do was they wanted me to change the plot line of my book, which they're like, you need to add more of this and this and this because that's what readers want. And I said, okay, I mean, that's your opinion, right? Again, everyone's going to have an opinion about everything you do, but that's your opinion of what my book needs. And I'm going to respectfully decline some of that. Did she have good advice about rewording some things or feeling like there was a lot of world building? Yeah, maybe. But again, that's also being a fantasy book. Is my first book a lot of world building? Yeah. And it is very intentful with how I made that book, right? So I think once book 2 comes out, you're really going to understand why book 1 is written the way it is. There's a lot of things that are intentful about how I do my writing. I intentionally am writing my characters and my chapters in a certain way. I'm intentionally introducing things at a certain pace. I'm intentionally ending my book on cliffhangers because I love that drama from that. All of those are intentional. Is it going to feel abrupt? Yeah. Is it not going to be everyone's cup of tea? Fine. You know, I would rather have 12 readers think that my book is like their cup of whiskey than being like 100 million readers little cup of tea, you know. I don't want my book to fit in that little this is what a trad pub book looks like box. I want my book to be unique. I want it to be a special style. Are sometimes the transitions gonna feel rough? Yeah, but even my editor, who's a professional editor, has recommended me change some things, and I'm like, you know what, I totally get where you're coming from. It might be a rough transition, but I want to end my book with this cliffhanger. but that's part of finding people for your team, is find people that you can throw those ideas back and forth. Like, I respect where you're coming from and your perspective, because it's different than my view and my perspective. Me being the author with the ideas, right? I need people to give me feedback, to bounce ideas off, to make things better. I have taken so many ideas from my editor and change parts of my book. Like, yeah, you're right, I do need an extra chapter there. This is a really long time frame between these two chapters. Let me add something in here real quick. Let me transition that so it doesn't sound so rough. Those are things that make it better. You want people on your team that are going to help you grow, and that you can bounce ideas off and respectfully be like, yeah, that's fantastic, I want that. Or respectfully be like, you know what, like, this is my wheelhouse. I get where you're coming from. It feels a little off for you, but honestly, like, this is how I want it. And so my editor respects that, right? So she's like, yeah, you're the writer. This is your idea wheelhouse. I'm just giving you my feedback. And that's great. You want those people. However, again, I will never, ever, ever sell out my main principle of my book, right? I know where I want it to go. It might not make sense to everybody right now, but that's the point of a book series, is it's going to slowly grow. You're going to slowly get more immersed in it. I have to make the first book a little more world building heavy in that book, so that you don't have to get that later on. As you read book 2, you're going to understand why I added book 1 to do a lot of that description and understanding, because book 2, it's rolling, right? It is just, you're going to dive in and you're going to roll and you're going to learn so much. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to experience a lot of new things. And I didn't want to add world building to that too. Like, I never want my reader to feel bogged down with all the information. I want to build this entire new world, and I want to build a whole experience for my readers. I don't just want it to be a book that you pick up and drop, right? I don't want it to fit into this little box of what everyone thinks a book should be, right? My books might not have the typical layout, like, oh, introduction, we're building, we have a climax, and then it gets solved. I don't want all of my books to have that necessary feel. Are there going to be problems that the main character has to solve? Absolutely. Is it going to follow like that typical progression? Maybe not. It's a little wild. But honestly, like, that's how I want it. Again, I'm writing it very intentionally. Is it going to feel like a unique experience? Yeah, but that is what I want. I want a unique experience. I want it to feel different. But does that make some people uncomfortable? Yeah, of course. Things that are different make people feel uncomfortable because it's not what you're used to. However, those things are memorable, and that's what I want. I want my books to be memorable. I want my readers to feel like they're immersed in this experience, that you're living the world with the character, that you're learning these things with the character. So why I introduce things in a certain way might feel a little weird or a little unique. It is, and it's intentional, like I said. So I will never, ever, ever sell out my book to fit in that trad publishing box. So that's just not who I am as an author. And like I said, I would rather have readers find me authentically than try and trad publish. Yeah, a lot more people will find my books and they'll get out there faster, and I'll have a whole team that's telling me to do things a certain way. Might I do it eventually? Yeah, I might. I mean, I think that it's a really good goal to work towards. I think it is something that I want to traditionally publish at some point. But right now, I have a very clear idea of how I want it, and I want to develop my story and my characters in a certain way. And so if I can eventually find a literary agent that is kind of willing to work with me on some of those things and not changing some of those big things that might be a little bit different, I would love that, right? But for now, I'm just going to keep being an indie author, and I want to keep creating such a fun experience for you all. I've been loving the reviews that you guys are leaving. One more note I want to make is I will never, ever, ever pay someone to review my book. So while, like I said, traditionally publishing, it sets you up with the marketing, it sets you up with book reviewers, which is more likely for people to find your book on Amazon because you have more reviews and your reviews are higher. That just doesn't feel right to me. And another lot of emails and Instagram messages I get are people wanting me to pay them to review my book. It's just not something I'm going to do. Do a lot of people do that, especially when they're starting out? Yeah, absolutely. Is there probably benefits to it? Yeah, I mean, you're getting more reviews overall, which again makes readers feel like they have more buy-in with your book and that they can believe in it a little bit more because more people have reviewed it. Is that how I find my products on Amazon? 100%. Like, I'm with you there. The higher the reviews and the more people that have reviewed it, I'm gonna believe in that product more. But like I said, it's just not who I am as an author. I'm never going to pay someone to review my book. I would rather have 1,000 readers find my book total and have one person give it a 5-star review and one person give it a 2-star review, because that's how they really feel about it, than pay a bunch of people to give me 5-star reviews. So again, I'm all about authenticity. I'm all about being real. I'm all about the process. Is it a wild process? Yes, and I love every minute of it. It is fantastic. But again, so that's who I am. I'm Jory Rivers. I'm an indie author, and I'm just experiencing this world with all of you too. So I'm just gonna keep it real. Right now, I'm gonna be an indie author. At some point, I'm hoping to traditionally publish, but again, I want to keep authenticity to my book. I want to keep the uniqueness behind it. Is it a little wild? Absolutely. But I want that experience for my readers. So come join this wild adventure with me. I'm releasing book 2 soon, August 8th. But for right now, the Magical Introduction is out. A lot of you have found it naturally, and natural sales and natural readers is perfect. That's what I want. So keep stumbling upon my book. Review it if you feel that you have it in you and you would like to give some feedback, positive, negative. I love reading what you guys have to say about it. It makes my day. I love that so many of you have positive things to say, and you love the world building, and you love the experience, and you're starting to love the character development, and I think you're going to get a lot more of that in book 2 too. So hang in there with me on this wild adventure. Book 1 might feel a little world building heavy, but I can't wait for you all to experience book 2 because I know you're going to love it. I put my heart and soul into it, and it's very intentional, and there's a lot of Easter eggs. See if you can find some of them. Again, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. Got my Rainier shirt on here. Go Rainiers. So see if you can find some of those Easter eggs in the books, and let me know if you find some. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you soon.